Good morning. I'm Fred King. I'm the Associate Dean for Research and Graduate Studies in the Eberly College of Arts and Sciences. And it's my great privilege and pleasure to welcome you this morning as we celebrate the various achievements of our candidates for graduate degrees. Let's take a moment to congratulate all these candidates on all they have accomplished, please. Those in attendance are some of the more than 450 students completing graduate degrees within the college during this year. We know that their accomplishments really reflect the dedication and support of many others who are both here and elsewhere, their families, their spouses, their friends, their mentors, and I think it's important that we recognize them and their support of our graduates as well. And then there are the faculty who have guided them through their graduate studies, who have helped them learn the intricacies of their discipline, learn more than they ever thought they could possibly learn about their area of study, and guide them through the research process. I would ask the faculty please stand for one moment to be recognized. And then finally, I want to recognize Associate Provost Jonathan Cumming from the Office of Graduate Education and Life, because without his guidance, none of this would really work. Jonathan, please stand. Commencement, as the term implies, is really a time where we look forward. We look forward to what you will accomplish both in thought and in deed. The hooding ceremony, however, really recognizes a transition from your time as students to the time that you will spend as citizens and scholars in society, as leaders of tomorrow and the future. The ceremony is really steeped in ancient rites and rituals. As you can see as you look around you, you'll note the tradition of caps and gowns comes really from the medieval era, when really the hoods that we talk about today were worn for a couple of reasons. The first was practical, to keep the monks warm as they engaged in their studies in the monasteries. The second was as a symbol of who they were, by the length of the cap, the colors of the cap and gown and things of that nature. You could tell what was the area of expertise of the monk. To what degree had they learned their area of study? By this time, really, the hoods gave way to caps on which larger and larger amounts of material were piled, really as a way to show what the person had learned, what they knew. Well, eventually these became so extravagant in terms of what was piled on them that they became unwieldy, and so they were simply replaced by the mortarboard that we see today among many people. Today, these things are largely ornamental. The collar and arrangement of the lining of the hood are determined by the educational institution. The velvet border signifies the type of degree received, the area of study. But amid all this material pomp, it is best to remind ourselves that there are other aspects beyond the material which help identify who you are. This is the way the graduate degree remains so important in our society. For this special degree witnesses that the mind, that intellectual curiosity, that intelligence, learning, growing, and understanding, none of which have any material aspect, are privileged in a university setting. And it is the responsibility of all in this room to continue that privileging in our society. One individual who has dedicated his life to academics and who celebrates intellectual curiosity is my colleague, the Dean of the Eberly College of Arts and Sciences, Rudy Macy. I ask Rudy to please come forward.
The Eberly College is grateful to its advisory committee for establishing the Alumni Recognition Award. The award enables us to keep in contact with so many of our special graduates and to bring some of these graduates back to WVU. Recognizing Dr. David Fleming is an especial treat for me, since I was chair of the Department of English when David took his 2 degrees at WVU. Even then, David, we knew this fellow who grew up in Morgantown and was off to Indiana University for a PhD was an exceptional individual. Your program gives details about our alumni recognition program and about David. And since David took his advanced degree at Indiana University and he has been in the higher education business, not only as a teacher but as an administrator, we knew that inviting him to this unique hooding ceremony would be the perfect opportunity to salute him as we salute those receiving graduate degrees from the Eberly College. So I look forward to his remarks, and so let me call David forward and say how delighted I am to present this Eberly College Alumni Recognition Award to you, and we look forward to the next adventures in your life, Dr. Fleming. And I invite you to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Almazzi. And thanks to Bonnie Fisher for nominating me for this wonderful award. And thanks to anyone else within the Eberly College of Arts and Sciences who supported this nomination. Graduates, faculty, administration, family, and friends, I am deeply honored to be standing in front of you today and receiving this award. Before I begin, though, I must share that being a West Virginia University graduate living in Michigan, I get the same question from almost everyone who learns this about my background. Will you take your football coach back? And I say, not for another $4 million. I actually do feel bad making jokes about Rich Rodriguez because he and I were of the same undergraduate class in 1984. And despite Dr. Almazzi's wonderful remarks, I'm not sure anybody in the Eberly College of Arts and Sciences could have predicted my career path in 1984. What really changed for me was the result of the wonderful incubator that is graduate school. So I would like to use my few minutes with you today to suggest that the comfortably controlled setting of a graduate school nurtured within each of you an assortment of skills in which you can rely throughout your career. Graduate school is unique because if you think about it, there are a few other environments that are set up to allow a person to pursue exclusively his or her singular intellectual interests. For this reason, one might ask, why would we ever want to leave graduate school? In the case of my colleagues from the mid-1980s English department, who wouldn't want to sit in classes forever listening to the wonderful laughter of Dr. Sophie Blades, or watching the impish smile of Dr. Patrick Connor, or marveling at the cutting wit of Dr. Richard Eaton? As much as I might have longed to get out of graduate school and get a job, in retrospect, I was leaving behind, in my case, an indulgent fascination with the intersection of literature, history, culture, and sociology. What I came to learn much later is that my knowledge of literature, history, culture, and sociology, as well as numerous other soft skills, provided me an array of raw materials converted via my intellectual engine into various forms of energy needed to be successful in those positions I've held since graduate school. Since I believe they bear relevance to the graduates today, allow me to show you briefly what I mean. My first position after getting my PhD at Indiana University was a full-time faculty member in English, Humanities, and Speech at the Detroit College of Business, which later became Davenport University. This seemed like a perfect fit for a newly minted English PhD. I was gassed up, I was ready to go, until I hit the skids when I gave my first midterm in my first humanities class, and all but one student had failed it. Where had I gone wrong, I asked. I couldn't have laid out this material any better. It didn't take me long to realize that I had to adapt to a student body that was dramatically different from the ones I had taught at West Virginia and Indiana universities. These students were first-generation college students coming from some of the poorest parts of Detroit, poorest school districts of Detroit. Many had GEDs earned years after they had dropped out of high school. Many were 40 to 50-year-old single parents whose cultural literacy was so underdeveloped that when they registered for Western civilizations, they thought they were getting a class on the Old West in America. And I don't say that lightly because I know there are many other students in the country right now who don't understand a simple distinction like that. In order to succeed as a teacher at Detroit College of Business, I had to draw from my education to consider how the sociology and culture of a certain demographic were impacting my ability to understand, my students' ability to understand history and culture in the greater and obviously more important sense. I quickly learned common touch points from which I could leap off to what they needed to learn. The students lived and breathed their religion, their faith, their family, and their environmental factors. So a discussion of life in ancient Rome became observations of class and architecture and power in their life in modern America. I ended up loving teaching, frankly, to these students more than I actually loved teaching to Indiana, West Virginia students because of this great barrier. I had a real challenge to get these students in programs in business and health and technology with their deficient backgrounds to even appreciate history or literature or art. To get these students to admit that literature was their favorite class, that was my thrill. And much to the chagrin of my colleagues in the business department, that's frequently what happened. I honestly lived for the day I could teach Leda and the Swan and watch the fascinating transition from looks of horror to ones of understanding and even appreciation, God forbid. My favorite example is one student who on the first day of Western civilization said, "This is the 7th time I signed up for this class. I still don't know why I have to have it." I took a deep sigh, and I said, "Just give us a little time. Give me a few weeks. Let's see if we can get you to succeed." And she stayed in the class. She got a well-earned C- and told me she generally liked the class. I knew most of the instructors she had had the 7 previous times, and they were all brilliant people who wanted to reach students. However, because of the almost inconceivable gaps that now exist in the backgrounds of many college students today, that reach is much farther than it once was. So lesson number 1. No matter your career, realize you will have to be adaptable. Graduate school, while it appears narrowly focused, it really isn't. It's provided you with the capabilities and confidence to be flexible as needed. Since it's safe to assume that many of you will go into teaching, recognize that if you don't adapt, more students will fail than should. And I don't mean fail simply in terms of credit. I mean fail in terms of learning what they have to learn to be successful. My career at Davenport University has reinforced that education has to be about equipping students to be successful. Within a couple of years of being hired full-time at Detroit College of Business, I found myself the president of the faculty union. It was a throne, if I can call it that, I ascended to very uncomfortably. We were a small union of faculty, mostly in their 50s and 60s. I had no negotiation classes for which to prepare for union negotiations. My A paper on John Steinbeck's and dubious battle was going to do me no good here. I also had no background in finance to guide me through the stickiest matters of a union contract. Yet there I was the day before I had to present a contract for ratification, doing the math for all 35 members' salaries and benefits to ensure that nobody would be adversely affected by some dramatic changes within that contract. To be successful, I now know I relied upon the more theoretical-based classes that I had in graduate school, the ones that introduced me to the wider range and array of literary critical approaches, or even the scholarly research review courses. In the far corners of my brain were those raw materials, stored and ready to be released, that forced me to think of situations from outside of my normal comfort level. I know those research and theory courses prepped me to think critically about the issues spanning the contract. I found I had greater skill than I realized at analyzing the legalese of a union contract or in comparing various salary and benefits proposals. I also intuitively knew not to downplay the importance of my communication skills to navigate a discussion that could easily turn into a stalemate and protracted posturing. For a quick example, we once had to negotiate an extremely controversial reopening clause of the contract. My union negotiation team was concerned about language related to the university's ability to lock us out. Administration kept reassuring us that the lockout clause also gave the union the right to strike, to which I finally had to gasp, "My people don't have the guts to strike." It really changed the dynamics of that discussion and allowed us to rephrase that clause. The decision to strike or lockout had to be in an extremely extreme, I teach English, I just don't speak it, in an extreme situation. I seriously doubt admit your workforce won't strike is in any negotiation handbook, but it was honest enough to allow us to approach that section differently, and it saved me weeks of wasted energy on additional posturing. So lesson number 2, you will be indubitably asked to do some things you don't like, but recognize that you do have the foundation to do them. The arts and sciences foundation is that foundation. The education is that foundation. When in doubt, fall back on your honesty and your personal integrity. From these experiences, you will grow tremendously. And finally, in my role as provost at Davenport University, I realized the necessity of relying on my soft skills, those common ingredients developed through my education, in owning and communicating unpopular decisions. I've had to analyze the effectiveness of campuses and then speak to faculty and staff about closing, consolidating, or moving their campuses. I worked closely with human resources and communications departments, discussing how we would announce these decisions, how we would manage emotional employees, and how I would handle any media. I've had to pull the plug on programs that weren't succeeding and explain that decision to the faculty and students affected. I had to work with outside partners on amending agreements that couldn't be maintained now that the program was no longer going to be offered. And I had to convince students that teach-out plans would be available and not detract from their ultimate credential. And in addition, I'm not sure if my fellow provosts at a place like West Virginia have to do this, but I had to over and over and over and over tell students that their grade appeal would not be overturned, often while the helicopter mom swooped and hovered and basically nearly clipped me the whole time. I've met with groups of students to discuss their complaints about a program or a faculty member or a dean, but I always listened sincerely and openly. I found that usually when they got to me, the students, and often the helicopter mom, simply felt no one had listened to the core concern. And even though in almost every case I couldn't change the situation for that student, I'm confident that everyone was satisfied knowing they'd had a just hearing and that the situation was closed. So lesson number 3, none of those decisions were why I welcomed the opportunity for leadership, but they come with the territory. This is where the broad-based general education knowledge, skills, and attitudes really kick in. And for those of you who desire, or maybe surprisingly, like me, find yourself in leadership later in life, keep in mind that how you conduct yourself in those moments when decisions have to be justified will define you more than your successes. In closing, for each of the graduates in this room today, you are facing a future that is yet to be written. That can be frightening and that can be exciting. It is my hypothesis that those of you who welcome opportunities, as opposed to resisting them, will be the most successful. You'll be more comfortable welcoming those opportunities if you can appreciate and utilize the wide range of skills and knowledge your graduate education has provided you. The incubator graduate school I described develops far more than the perfect biologist, or the perfect sociologist, or the perfect mathematician. It creates the model for a leader, harnessing powerful energy to produce great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. I will now turn to the department chairs for the presentation of degree candidates. We will recognize graduates in alphabetical order by department, beginning with chemistry. I call Dr. Gullion forward.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Terry Gullion, Chair of the Department of Chemistry, and it's my pleasure to introduce the candidates for the PhD in Chemistry. Jennifer Wiseman, comprehensive analysis of gamma-hydroxybutyrate and gamma-hydroxyvalerate. Brent Reschke. His thesis title is Microfluidic Interfaces for Coupling Hydrodynamic to Electrokinetic Flow and Microchannel Electrophoresis to Electrospray Ionization Mass Spectrometry. Kathleen Reschke. Her thesis title is Development of Nanofluidic Microfluidic Interfaces as Analyte Concentrators for Proteomic Samples. Sujata Sengupta. Her thesis title is 1,2,3-NH-triazoles, its metal-free synthesis and applications as ligands in transition metal catalysis. And finally, May Yu. Her thesis title is The Use of the Palladium Catalyzed Glycosylation for the Synthesis of C and O-linked glycosylated natural products.
I'm Matt Martin from Communication Studies, and it's my pleasure to acknowledge students from our department who are receiving the Masters of Arts. Stephen Russell Brothers McGrew. Stacy M. Downey. Velma D. Lane.
I'm Donald Hall, Chair of the Department of English, and it's my pleasure to introduce candidates for the Master of Fine Arts degree in English Creative Writing. Corey Elizabeth Frazier. Patrick M. Fowler. Jason P. Freeman. Joseph A. Rote. And the next student has completed requirements for the master's degree in English, Jamie Beth Blandford.
Good morning. I'm Angel Tuninetti, Chair of the Department of Foreign Languages. It is my pleasure to introduce students who have completed requirements for the master's degree in foreign languages. Liliana Acosta. Azucena Álvarez Alonso. Latifa Ahmed Al-Wassan. María Florencia Ben-Simón. Musa Berth. María Alejandra Cerdas. Susan Elizabeth Kraus. Elena Gandoya. Benjamín García Egea. María Gómez Martín. Heike Julia Gratz. Amber Michelle Gregory. Alfonso Guerrero Ortega. Albina Habibulina. Alison Larimer. María Jesús López Floriano. Nayara Martínez Vélez. Susana Mazuelas Quirce. Laura Rodríguez Durán. Susana Villanueva Eguía Liz. Yuan Yu.
Good morning. I'm Keith Morris, the Director of the Forensic Investigative Science Program, and it's my pleasure to introduce the students who have completed the requirements for the Master's Degree Program in Forensic and Investigative Science. Kelly Elizabeth Edmiston. Deanna Marie Wallace.
Good morning. My name is Trevor Harris. I'm Chair of the Department of Geology and Geography, and it is my pleasure to recommend candidates who have received the requirements for a Doctor of Philosophy in Geology. Matthew L. Boyce, Subsurface Stratigraphy and Petrophysical Analysis of the Middle Devonian Interval of the Central Appalachian Basin. Lewis Anderson Cook, Systematics and Evolutionary Paleoecology. And for the next student, it's my pleasure to introduce Lindsay, who has completed requirements for the Master's Degree in Geography, Lindsay N. Deal.
Good morning. I am Elizabeth Fellenswolf, Chair of the Department of History, and it's my pleasure to introduce the candidates for the PhD in History. Our first candidate is Catherine Antolini. Her dissertation title is Memorializing Motherhood, Anna Jarvis and the Struggle for Control of Mother's Day, advisor Mike McMahon. James Michael De Palma. Dissertation, A Dog in That Fight, the United States and the Yugoslav Wars of Succession, 1991 to 1999. Advisor, Robert Blobom. Charles Belmont Keeney III. Dissertation, Soldiers and Stereotypes, Mountaineers, Cultural Identity, and World War II. Advisor, Ronald Lewis. Dana M. Caldermeyer, Masters of Art. Janessa Piles. Lauren Kristen Thompson. Ashley Meredith Whitehead.
Good morning. I'm Eddie Fuller. I'm the chair of the Department of Mathematics, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you the students who have completed the requirements for a master's in mathematics. Matthew John Fiegel. Mary Elizabeth Given. Jennifer May Maynor. And Elise C. Yeager.
Good morning. I'm Earl Seamy, Chair of the Department of Physics, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you those students who have completed the requirements for their PhD in physics. Saeed Hushmandyar, Laboratory Investigations of Alphane Waves in a High-Power Helicon Plasma with Density Gradients. Advisor Earl Seamy.
Good morning. I am John Kilwine, Associate Chair of the Department of Political Science, and it is my pleasure to introduce our candidate for the PhD in Political Science, Anthony K. Fleming, Institutions, Interest Groups, and Gun Control Policy, a comparative study of focusing events. Chair Don Studler.
Good morning. I'm Mike Perrone, Chair of the Department of Psychology. It's my pleasure to introduce candidates for the PhD in Psychology. Joseph Patrick McFall. Effectiveness of strategies for solving everyday problems during early and later adulthood, a re-examination of everyday problem-solving inventory. Advisor, Jonelle Strow. Emily J. Keener. Boys and Girls Strategies for Managing Peer Conflict in Adolescence. Advisor, Jonelle Strow. Tracy Ann Thomas. Predicting Restoration of Competence to Stand Trial. Demographic, Clinical, and Legal Variables. Advisor, William Freemow. Sarah Ann Stoner. Goal framing of health-related behaviors. What factors contribute to the persuasiveness of a message? Advisor Barry Edelstein. Jonathan M. Slazak. Observing responses of change schedule stimuli and effects of D-amphetamine and morphine. Advisor Karen Anderson. Natalie Rose Bruner. Effects of prenatal stress on lever press acquisition, delay discounting, and ethanol self-administration in rats. Advisor Karen Anderson. Salvatore Pete Insana. Sleep and sleepiness among first-time postpartum parents. Advisor Holly Montgomery Downs. The following students have completed requirements for the master's degree in psychology. Kristen Michelle Hard. Lisa Marie DiDonato. Caroline M. Ciliberti. Paula R. Prentice.
Good morning. My name is Maya Holmes, and on behalf of the Division of Public Administration, I'd like to introduce to you the students who have completed the requirements for the Master of Public Administration. Gordon J. Burns. Brittany E. Carnes. Aaron Kostenbader. Chelsea Cross. Angela Faulkner. Alexandra Nicole Kowalczyk. Victoria Leslie Mara. Sorry. Marianne Meza. Megan Krista Norris. Clint Newsom. Nina Orndorff. Stephanie Prager. Sarah Shanholzer. Hannah Musser-Thurman. Jessica Weber. Sheila Westfall. Ty Wilkerson. And Ebony Winfrey.
Good morning. I'm Karen Harper Dorton, and I'm chair of the Division of Social Work. It is my pleasure to introduce students who have completed their requirements for the Masters of Social Work. First is Carmen Rose Renteria Abreu. Rebecca A. Addy. Terry Chapman. Marlena Nicole Chestnut. Chi Fong Nu Tu. Sandra Corbett. Sarah Joan Davis. Mikhail DeMary. Catherine Denton. Ashley M. Everson. Carrie Michelle Ferrer. Courtney M. Fox. Zachary Tyler Francis. Jennifer Ann German Cassidy. Ricky J. Hummel. Eric Thomas Jackson. Cecil A. Joseph, Jr. Alexandria Nicole Kowalchuk. Jody Lynn Lambert Monday. C.Y. Tiffany Mann. Reagan Suzanne Moshe McGann. Justin M. Miller. Hannah Thurman.
Brent.
Tyler Branton Parnell. Devin Olivia Perel. Christy Dawn Repack. Jared T. Rowan. Elizabeth M. Shahan. Elizabeth Wetherill Smales. Alafia Ronell Talbot. Tasha Wamsley. Heather Louise Young. That is out of order.
Good morning. I am Corey Collier, representing the faculty from the Division of Sociology and Anthropology. It is my pleasure to introduce the students who have completed requirements for the master's degree in sociology. Megan D. Vizdos. Jason Russell Ryan. Jeffrey John Tranguch.
Good morning. I am Jerry Hobbs, acting on behalf of the chairman of the Department of Statistics. It is my pleasure to introduce a student who has completed the requirements for the Master of Science degree in Statistics, Songju Zhong.
Let's now congratulate all the degree candidates. Now I would like to ask Associate Provost Jonathan Cumming to please come forward to give us closing remarks. Jonathan.
Thank you, Fred. Well, we're at that time. We're right at the end. You guys have done excellent work, and you've persevered through long hours and have pushed forward your curiosity, and hopefully will contribute great things to our futures. You should be proud of how far you've traveled, the obstacles you've overcome, and the perseverance you've mustered over the years. At the same time, realize that you did not do it alone. You had friends and family, significant others and pets, advisors and peers who supported you, challenged you, loved you through the long nights and frustrations, and shared with you in your breakthroughs and your jubilation. It may be impossible to repay them, but thank them in every way possible. By earning graduate degrees, you are joining the group of scholars who have committed themselves to a lifelong learning. You will continue to query the world, make new revelations about your own areas of expertise, see the interplay of your research within our complicated society, and perhaps most importantly, make new discoveries and insights about yourself. You will find that you have keen insight, deep compassion, and incredible strength. You will find that you have much to offer and much to give. The mission of a land-grant institution such as West Virginia University is to provide a strong foundation for learning, discovery, and engagement. These are the fundamentals of lifelong learning. Certainly, you have all spent countless hours in the library and your research labs learning. Certainly, you've caught up in the thrill of discovery as you've shepherded your individual research programs forward as a major component of the requirements of your graduate degree. And I hope that WVU has provided for you the last part of the foundation that will support your efforts at engagement. Engagement is you being intimately connected to your neighbors and society as a whole. It's applying your expertise and your energy to benefit the greater good. It's you being keenly aware of what you can and should contribute to the world. Perhaps the 19th century biologist Thomas Henry Huxley said it best when he stated that the great end of life is not knowledge, but action. You, as I, will never stop learning. Your presence here today speaks to your curiosity and desire to know. When you leave here, when your leaders continue this quest, apply your learning and your energy to help your neighbor and your community. Use your insight to be engaged to better the world. Congratulations again. Take care, do good work, and remember the country roads you followed as a mountaineer. Thank you.
I look forward to seeing all of you at graduation this afternoon and at our reception that follows in the Shell building after graduation. There's also a small reception following this. I ask that the candidates please be sure to wear your hoods to the degree ceremony this afternoon. And I ask that you all please remain in your chairs until the platform party has finished its recessional. Thank you all.